Hi, everyone. We are on our day 19 of our 40 Days of Hope, and I'd like to talk about perseverance. There's two types there's partial perseverance and full perseverance. Partial perseverance is planned by man, but sometimes it follows through, and other times it doesn't follow through. But full perseverance is from God, and before we can expect full perseverance, we have to throw off everything that hinders. Anything that gets in the way of doing what is right. Sometimes it's a learning learning experience. And with perseverance, I get my homework done, even if I don't feel like doing it. And sometimes I've had to learn that some areas of my life work with partial perseverance. Recently, God's discharged me from working at restaurants because I needed time to think about my emotions and how to emotionally recover. And God wants to protect me if more COVID variants come into Ontario. We may not know when, but it is possible. Now, I'd like to talk about the 40 Days of Hope from Bernie's video. There was a guy who talked about his life as a teacher. He was in Africa. He saw the cycles and patterns of poverty. This was from the fact that children who live under the poverty level, they don't often go to school as much as they should. In Africa, the children under the poverty level, a lot of them don't go to school because they can't afford the uniforms. They can't afford the right materials that they would need in school. So a lot of families under the poverty level there didn't want to send their kids to school. In other countries, it's almost like that as well. But one of the common problems in America and Canada when it comes to families under the poverty level is there's issues with hidden homeless. There's issues with those hidden homeless children moving from school after school every couple months. Other times the parents could be too busy to help their kids with homework because parents have minimum wage jobs. So this is one of the reasons that poverty is easy to come into place. Because there is cycles of poverty, it is important to have project centers, but it's hard to build them up. It's hard to convince people that the project centers are important. And how do people know between a real project center and a fake project center? Fake project centers, some of them are really good at manipulating people. So then there's the line of, what can I trust? Most people are more driven to trust professionals. But what about people who tell the truth even though they are young, inexperienced, and they want to make a difference. They know how important it is to make a difference, but they don't get given a chance by many people because they don't know how to act. They don't know how to impress them when first meeting them. So it gets frustrating. Speaking of frustration, it's almost been 4 years that I've advocated my project on Facebook, and that's why I call myself the blogger. While I question how clear I am about my project center, while not having much guidance on Facebook, I came across ordering some books. Here's one book to run and grow a successful nonprofit organization, and the other book on how to start a nonprofit organization. Posters can bring clarity, but it can take plenty of work to figure out how to make it professional. I have a rough copy poster that does not look professional yet because it's more of an idea of how I'd like to put it together. Even though I haven't got as much done, there's still hope to persevere through it. Instead of believing the I can't, we can look at ways on how to make it work. Hoping that I would graduate from video productions. Maybe I can get into social work next year. And the social work programs, the social work program and the social work courses should be able to help me understand the skills on what it can mean to work at a project center and to run a project center. I have a list of project centers. As much as I'd like my project center to house in women, and how many do house in women? The Bethesda House houses abused women. I personally know somebody who went to the Bethesda House. I can't mention any names. And another center is the Rape Crisis Center. And it does offer options and housing plans for women. And the Rape Crisis Center does offer abortion as an option. I don't know how common it is for women to get an abortion when they get raped. It really depends on a lot of things. Like, do they want to find a safe house, which the Rape Crisis Center can provide? And the other part is, do they want their parents to know about their pregnancy if they do get pregnant? But like for my women's center, I would prefer not to suggest abortion. I'm not going to fight with them if they want an abortion. They, at the end of the day, it is their choice. But if they go to the Women's Project Center, I would not suggest abortion because I don't personally think it is the best option for people. It is an option people can choose, and at the end of the day, it is their choice. Now, I have three more organizations I'd like to mention. The other one that can house, there's a teen challenge for women, and there's the teen challenge for men. The teen challenge is made to house in people who have been addicted to drugs, and there's a lot more people who are on drugs than people who get help for the drugs that they take. I don't know how many people Teen Challenge could take, and I wonder how common is it for people to sign up for it. I'm going to mention about two other organizations that can house women, and because of the housing plans, but these are co-ed, so they can house both women and men, but women have their own places and men have their own places. One of them is the Refuge in Oshawa. I have been involved with it for like every once in a while. I know people at my church who have been involved with the Refuge for a much longer time. The Refuge is made to house in young adults who can't live with their parents. And the other organization that houses in people would be called Christian Horizons. Christian Horizons provides the spiritual training and the spiritual counseling for people with disabilities. As I mentioned about the Bethesda House housing in abused women, the Rape Crisis Center housing in women who are raped as an option, Teen Challenge who can house in people who are addicted to drugs, the Refuge who houses in young people who can't live with their parents, and Christian Horizons who can take people with disabilities. Now, most centers don't technically house in people. They give options and they give plans. The Pregnancy Help Center is made to provide plans. Now, my Women's Project Center, I would like it to provide plans, to provide housing, and to provide education and spiritual training. And I want to provide for women who can't afford their own housing, but I also want to think about college students, and I also want to think about young people who are pregnant, and also I want to think about people who need counseling, since hopefully if the project center works, I can get some counselors and counselors, teachers, and program activities, and we can provide refuge and restoration for women, and hopefully be able to train them with perseverance. If there are women who are at the Women's Project Center who are pregnant, we can call in a midwife and we could talk with the women about midwife appointments and counsel those pregnant women as much as we can on their way to the process of delivering their babies. I know this has been a long video, and I wanted to talk about perseverance in general. I wanted to talk about how I use perseverance or how I'm learning to use perseverance. I have to start with using perseverance through my schoolwork. The perseverance through fundraising is going to be a really big challenge. And the perseverance for the project center will also take the perseverance to fundraise. If you guys have any questions about perseverance or how I should better mention about it, you can post them in the comments. Thank you very much.